I said it in front of everyone. The whole room froze except him. He kept his manicured hands clasped like he was praying for my downfall. You're an unqualified idiot. It wasn't loud. That's what made it worse. Marcus didn't need volume. He weaponized calm the way some people weaponize knives, silent, precise, and just deep enough to hit something vital. He said it with the same tone you'd use to ask for oat milk in your coffee. HR was on the Zoom call was my entire project team. Nobody spoke. Nobody blinked. The only sound was someone awkwardly clearing their throat, followed by the muffled tap of someone turning off their camera. I didn't flinch. I smiled, I nodded, I wrote it down. That was day 34.
Let me rewind.
Day 1, he introduced himself by letting me know he doesn't believe in onboarding, said it builds dependence. Told me if I couldn't figure things out by osmosis, corporate life wasn't for me. He wore Italian leather shoes in our casual office and quoted Jordan Peterson unironically. I should have run. Day 7, he joked that I looked like someone who peaked in college. Day 12, he told me my voice was grating and suggested I try being softer if I wanted to get promoted. Day 18, he asked if I was one of those women who cries in her car after meetings. I was, but not for the reason he thought. Every insult, every sideways glance, every Slack message that said, when I didn't reply within 3 minutes, it all went in the file. I had folders within folders, timeline spreadsheets, voice memos, security footage timestamps. I knew his tells. When he lied, he touched his watch. When he was about to unload on me, he smiled too wide. It was like watching a bomb grin. But the real shift happened on day 25. He sent me an Uber Eats code to cheer me up after a rough meeting where he blamed me for a budgeting error he made. I didn't think much of it until I opened the receipt. 1 Greek salad, 3 sides of pickles, no dressing, and under special instructions he wrote, extra pickles, no remorse. Who the hell writes that on a salad? It was either a power move or a cry for help. I screenshotted it anyway. That same night, I found something else. His old LinkedIn, buried under privacy settings, and a cascade of humble bragging posts that looked like a motivational poster got drunk. A photo from 2 years ago. He's at a company retreat with the CFO. His caption, sometimes the best promotions start off the clock. Hashtag no HR here, hashtag networking. And just like that, the stakes changed. I wasn't dealing with just a petty bully. I was dealing with someone who didn't think the rules applied to him. The way his face looked when he walked into HR and saw my file open on the desk? Well, let's just say we were finally playing my game now. Day 35 started like any other slow-burn horror film. Fluorescence buzzing. Coffee machine spitting out burnt regret. Marcus already in the office, sitting at my desk, not his, mine. Don't worry, he said, not looking up from his phone. I just needed better lighting for my Zoom. Yours faces east. That wasn't the reason. I knew it. He wanted to mark territory. Alpha dog the room. Remind me he could replace me physically, professionally, and psychologically any damn time he pleased. But I didn't react. I just walked to his desk and sat down. It smelled like expensive cologne and wasted potential. The rest of the day he ignored me. On purpose. Passive-aggressive silence is Marcus's way of laying landmines. The moment you think it's safe, boom. He accuses you of withholding information or deliberately sabotaging the team by not looping him in. And sure enough, 4:12 p.m.
Boom.
He storms into the common area mid-call, slams a folder on the counter, and says, loud enough for Brenda in finance to hear, and that woman has bionic gossip ears. Did you choose to leave me off that thread, or are you just incapable of basic logic? Everyone stops pretending to work. My hands don't shake. I've been waiting for this exact cue. This is where his downfall accelerates, because I've already emailed that thread to myself, CCing HR, timestamped. He was never on the original email. He deleted it himself from the shared drive 2 days ago. I have screen recordings. But I don't argue. I just tilt my head and say, that's odd. I can resend it if you'd like. He stares. The stare people give when they feel control slipping, but can't quite figure out what they're holding wrong. Day 36, he goes for blood. He pulls me into a meeting room with frosted glass and whispers like the CIA's watching. I don't think you're emotionally stable for this environment. I've noticed crying, mood swings, disengagement. You might want to talk to someone. That's what we call laying the groundwork. He wants me to crack, to get defensive, say something he can twist into hostile behavior for HR. But he's 3 moves behind because I've already talked to someone. I've talked to the junior dev he called cute but useless in front of his peers, the admin assistant he made cry because she breathed too loud, the IT guy he called autistic when he fixed his laptop and didn't smile enough, and the intern. Oh God, the intern, who quit without even picking up his final paycheck. All of them sent me statements, dates, screenshots. They're not just witnesses. They're part of the foundation I've been building under his Italian leather shoes. But the most satisfying brick came on day 37. Marcus had a standing Thursday touch base with the VP. Normally, he'd use it to snitch on anyone who looked at him the wrong way, but this time, he didn't show up because someone, can't imagine who, emailed the VP anonymously a lovely audio compilation titled Marcus's Coaching Moments, Fall Edition. It contained 5 separate clips of him calling me an idiot, suggesting the CFO likes them dumb, and that HR only cares when someone sues. The VP didn't respond to the email, but he did call HR, and HR requested a meeting with me. Marcus didn't know that yet, but he would. Very, very soon. Day 38. He came in late, first time in weeks. No perfectly styled hair, just oversized sunglasses and that twitchy jaw clench he does when he's scrambling to read the room before the room reads him. He walked right past me without a word. That's how I knew. Something had cracked. Somewhere between the audio files and the email receipts, the illusion of his invincibility had taken a hit. But he wasn't unraveling yet. No, Marcus is the type to go full Psycho Ken before surrendering. And right on cue, at 11:17 a.m., he requested a quick sync on the calendar. No title, no agenda, just 2 words. Quick sync. I walked into conference room B. He was already there standing, arms crossed, like he was about to interrogate a terror suspect, not the marketing analyst he'd been slowly trying to erase from the org chart. You're sabotaging me, he said flatly. No hello. I'm sorry, don't play dumb. You think I don't notice your little quiet rebellion? Your Slack history is clean, your desk is pristine, you've been CCing HR on everything. You're trying to set me up. I blinked. You think I'm weaponizing professionalism? He slammed his hand on the table. Don't gaslight me. Projection's a hell of a drug. He stepped closer, lowering his voice like he thought the walls weren't listening. I don't care what you think you're doing. This company knows who brings value. I built this team. No one's questioning that, I said, voice even, calm, like I hadn't already submitted my final HR document, a fully indexed, time-stamped, 42-page PDF titled Behavioral Patterns of Manager M. Rodriguez. Oh, honey, he sneered. You're cute when you pretend to matter. Then he left.
Just like that.
Walked out like he'd scored a touchdown. But here's the part he didn't know. While he was busy trying to crack me in private, HR had quietly moved my file, not to the usual employee conduct folder. No, they printed it, put it in a manila envelope, and left it on their desk, right in the line of sight of anyone walking into the HR office. I didn't ask for that. They wanted him to see it. And he did, on day 39. Marcus strutted into HR like he owned the building. I watched from the other side of the glass wall, pretending to refill my mug. He walked in mid-rant, gesturing, hair perfect, mouth moving at 200 revolutions per minute. And then he stopped. Cold. Eyes dropped. Jaw twitched. Right there on the desk, my file. Open, thick, color-coded tabs, photos, transcripts, his Slack handle in bold font. His name in quotes. He reached for it like it was a bomb he thought he could defuse. Then he read the tab sticking out. Pattern 3. Verbal hostility in group settings. His face went pale. The VP stepped into the room, closed the door behind him. And I sipped my coffee like it was champagne. Day 40, the office felt off. Too quiet, like someone had vacuumed the tension out of the carpet and pumped in fake calm. Marcus didn't show up. Number 7 a.m. calendar changes. No, can we hop on a quick call? Pings at 11:58 p.m. Just silence, which from him was louder than anything. People noticed. Brenda from finance whispered in the break room, Did he quit? Devin from legal just muttered, "Something's coming. I can feel it." And me? I kept working, smiling, forwarding those final polished project notes to HR, tying up every loose end like I knew they'd be reviewed by legal. Because they would. Because Marcus was still fighting. He sent one final email that night, BCC'd everyone I'd ever worked with on the team. The subject line: "Let's be honest about performance." 4 paragraphs of corporate poison. He didn't mention my name directly, he was smarter than that. But he alluded. Oh, did he allude? Some people lack initiative. Some analysts can't keep up with leadership demands. Not everyone is cut out for high-performance environments. It was a slow bleed of venom disguised as reflection. But here's the thing. He forgot who he was playing with. At 9:14 p.m., 34 minutes after his email went out, a reply-all chain began. The first was small, just a former intern. "I once watched you call someone a PMS baby for missing a deadline after a miscarriage. Maybe reflect on that." Then came Daniel from IT. "Marcus, didn't you get drunk at last year's holiday party and tell Sarah she had childbearing hips built for mediocrity?" No performance issues here. Just memory loss. Then they piled in. By midnight, 15 separate responses had stacked, each one dragging a skeleton out of his walk-in closet. The HR director herself stepped in at 12:27 a.m. to say, "Thank you, everyone, for your transparency. We take workplace culture seriously and are reviewing all reports. In the meantime, please refrain from public discourse. My office is open tomorrow for in-person discussions." Translation: they were preparing the axe. Day 41. I was called into HR again. But this time, it wasn't just a meeting. It was a review board. VP, HR lead, a compliance officer I'd never met before, but who had a folder with Marcus's name printed in caps on the front. I didn't even need to bring my evidence. They already had it. The HR lead looked up at me and said, "We want you to walk us through what happened on day 12. So I did. Then day 18. Then day 25. They took notes. They asked follow-ups. They cross-checked timestamps. When I mentioned the Uber Eats receipt, the compliance officer laughed. Like real, actual laughter. And then she said, "That aligns with his previous behavior." Previous? That was the word that stopped me. Wait, has he done this before? They didn't answer directly. But the VP folded his hands and said, "Let's just say you're not his first idiot. You're just the first one who built a case like a damn lawyer." I walked out of that room, not just validated. I walked out dangerous because I knew he didn't know what I knew. By day 42, he'd learned just how much I'd taken from him. Day 42, he was back. Waltzed into the office like nothing had happened. Full war paint, suit pressed, shoes shined, tie so perfect it could have been computer generated. He didn't look at anyone, didn't have to. That silence, the one he used to command like a symphony of fear, it was gone. People saw through it now, saw through him. He walked in expecting a standing ovation and got head nods, so weak they looked like early Parkinson's. And then he saw me. I was at my desk, sipping tea like I hadn't spent the last 6 weeks documenting every psychological paper cut he ever gave me. He froze, eyes narrowed. That predator stare, the one that used to make interns cry.
But something was different this time.
He looked confused, like the lion finally realized the gazelle had grown fangs. I didn't say a word, just smiled. Clicked send on one last document. It wasn't to HR, it was to the board. A little gem called Operational Instability Due to Managerial Misconduct. A report that tied his abuse not just to people but to numbers. Lost productivity. Team turnover. Delayed deadlines. Anonymous quotes from 2 contractors who refuse to renew until that man is gone.
And graphs.
Oh God, the graphs. Everyone listens when you bring data, especially in an org where PowerPoint has more power than prayer. 5 minutes later, his Outlook pinged. I watched him open it, watched his face morph, calm to puzzled to panic. He stood up, turned toward HR like he was about to demand a meeting, and that's when he entered the building. Greg Thomas, Director of Corporate Compliance, wears the same tan trench coat year-round like a cartoon detective. He never visits our floor. Until today. He didn't even stop at reception. just walked straight to his desk and said, with the calm of a man who had already seen the security footage, "Mr. Rodriguez, please bring your laptop and follow me." His lips parted. Nothing came out. People looked up. The room watched. Not a single monitor flickered. Not a single email got typed. "Now," Greg added, when he didn't move. He stood, slow, mechanical, took his laptop like it weighed 100 pounds, walked behind him, disappeared into the elevator. The door closed with a silence that sounded like judgment. 2 hours later, an IT guy with a sticky note beard showed up at his desk, started boxing things up. He didn't say much, just asked if we'd seen his personal mouse. Someone pointed to his drawer. He nodded, tossed it in the box with a stress ball, 3 expired protein bars, and a mug that said, "I make the rules." It felt sacred, like watching an exorcism in real time. By 4:30 p.m., a new calendar invite went out. Team meeting mandatory. Hosted by HR, subject line, "Reset and renewal." But the best part? The final Slack message he ever sent.
We all saw it.
It pinged right before IT disabled his account. "To those who supported me, thank you. To those who betrayed me, I know who you are." No punctuation. Just rage. He wanted it to land like a threat. It read like an eulogy. Day 43. We all expected HR to come in with donuts and damage control. Maybe one of those fake team-building exercises where you write affirmations on sticky notes and pretend Kevin from accounting didn't just publicly torch his keyboard last month. But no. HR walked in like they'd been waiting for this moment, like they'd been held hostage by Marcus for years, and the hostage negotiator had finally arrived. First to speak was Angela, head of People Ops, in her usual cardigan and "I just ran a marathon but for policy changes" energy. "We understand there's been a culture of intimidation," she began, locking eyes with no one but meaning everyone. "Effective immediately, we're restructuring management protocols. Anonymous reporting will now be real-time, and no one is above accountability." Someone actually clapped.
Like a single, slow clap.
It was Devin from legal. "Brave man," Angela continued, but I barely heard it. My phone buzzed. New email from Greg Thomas. Subject, "Follow-up, private." I clicked it open, read it once, then again. He wanted me to meet him, not at HR, not even on company property, but off-site. Neutral ground. A coffee shop on 8th and Pine. 7 p.m. sharp. Said he had one final request. That night, I walked in to find him already sitting there. Trench coat still on, black coffee untouched. He slid a folder across the table. "I'm not supposed to show you this," he said, voice low like we were trading state secrets instead of post-burnout paperwork. "But you deserve to see the full picture." Inside, Marcus's file.
Not mine.
His. Pages of prior incidents. 6 internal complaints. 3 exit interviews mentioning him by name. 2 probationary notes. An informal warning from 18 months ago where he was told any further misconduct would trigger termination proceedings. But somehow, he'd survived it all. Until me. Until Operation Paper Trail. And tucked in the back, a letter written by Marcus. Addressed to the board. Dated yesterday. A pathetic attempt at framing me for a coordinated defamation campaign. He used phrases like targeted harassment, emotional manipulation, and, my personal favorite, weaponized femininity. Like he was pitching a Lifetime movie where he was the victim. Greg raised an eyebrow. "Sound familiar?" "He tried to pre-accuse me," I said. "He knew the noose was tightening," he replied. "Tried to flip the narrative before the hammer fell." He leaned forward. "We're pursuing legal steps now. You'll be contacted as a formal witness." I stared down at the folder. All that power he had, and in the end, it came down to a paper trail and his own damn ego. Did he ever try this on anyone above him? I asked. Greg cracked the smallest smile. "Let's just say you're not the first he tried to climb over." He forgot that ladders go both ways. I left the coffee shop that night with my head high and my name cleared. In ink, not whispers. But it wasn't over yet, because on day 44, Marcus came back. Not through the front door. Through legal. Day 44. The sun hadn't even cleared the skyline when legal dropped the bomb. My inbox pinged at 6:12 a.m. Subject line: Notice of retaliatory allegations. Immediate attention required. Sender: External counsel. Marcus had lawyered up. You ever get an email that makes your hands go numb? I sat there, toothbrush hanging out of my mouth, half-dressed, reading words like wrongful character assassination and malicious corporate sabotage. He accused me of weaponizing mental health culture, of staging incidents, colluding with HR to construct a false narrative for personal gain. He even said I had a vendetta because he gave me a poor performance review. Babe, I was the only one on the team who never got a review because he forgot to schedule it. But he didn't stop there. He named me as the reason he was forced to resign. Spoiler: he didn't resign. He was walked out like an uninvited stripper at a church funeral. Still, legal had to follow protocol. External investigation. Freeze on all external comms. I couldn't talk to my team, couldn't touch my inbox history. They even disabled my Slack access for neutrality. I was cut off from the very fortress I built. And yet I wasn't scared. Not anymore. Because he just made his final mistake, going loud in a room where everything was recorded. Day 45. They called it an adjudication panel. 3 people in a glass room with laptops and faces like unpaid grief counselors. I sat across from them while Greg slid a printed packet across the table. Evidence dossier. Not yours. His. Page 1. Screenshot of his Slack message about firing slow thinkers by attrition. Page 2. Audio recording of him mocking the intern stutter during a Zoom call. Page 4. A timestamped screen grab of the extra pickles, no remorse, Uber Eats receipt. Still iconic. But then, page 12. That's where things went nuclear. It was a photograph, a printed-out LinkedIn story buried deep in his private account. It was a photo from 3 months ago, taken inside a closed-door strategy meeting. He wasn't supposed to have his phone. He wasn't supposed to be taking pictures of whiteboards filled with client data. Caption read, "When the CEO talks like he's the only one in the room. Hashtag executive privilege, hashtag know your worth." The man he was mocking? The founder. It was over. Even the panelists sat back like they'd just witnessed a public execution in HD. Greg didn't even say anything. Just slowly turned to me and asked, "Would you like to respond to his claims?" I leaned forward, tapped the file. Everything you need is in there. But for the record, if standing up to a tyrant counts as character assassination, maybe the character deserved to die. He chuckled. Even the panelist with the mustache cracked a smirk. Day 46. They cleared me. Completely. No further review. No marks. No pending. No HR babysitter to monitor team dynamics. Just clean, cold vindication. But Marcus? He didn't go down quiet. He filed one last complaint to the press. Some second-rate workplace gossip blog with a title like Corporate Hellscapes and Chardonnay. They published it verbatim, his unhinged manifesto about toxic empathy culture and ungrateful subordinates with TikTok mentalities. It backfired beautifully, because the comment section turned against him like a pack of caffeinated wolves. Former coworkers chimed in. So did ex-managers. Someone even said he stole toner cartridges and resold them on Facebook Marketplace. And then the final blow. The company's LinkedIn page posted a quote that same afternoon. "The best leaders don't threaten, they listen." Underneath, a photo of me mid-laugh during last quarter's all hands. No name, no tag. Just me. And everyone knew. Day 47. I walked into the office with a coffee in one hand and a quiet storm in my chest. His desk gone. Like it had never been there. Not boxed up, not reassigned. Just removed. As if the floor had decided to cleanse itself of the rot. But the real closure didn't come from the silence. It came at 3:11 p.m. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Almost. But some part of me, the part that had smiled through meetings while being skinned alive with corporate microaggressions, needed to hear it. "Karen Martinez has listed you as a professional reference." A woman's voice, clipped and suspicious. I blinked. "Excuse me?" "Marcus Rodriguez." He applied for a position with our firm. You were listed as his direct report. Oh, Marcus. He was still trying to climb. Still pretending the fall never happened. Like he could rewrite his legacy with a fresh coat of confidence and a different HR contact. The silence on the line stretched. The woman was waiting. So, I gave her what she wanted. Marcus is memorable. He has a very distinct approach to leadership.
Pause.
In what way? He believes in motivation through intimidation, builds morale by removing it, delegates accountability, and hoards credit. But he's very consistent. The woman coughed. I could hear her typing. Would you rehire him? I laughed, quiet, honest, sharp. Only if I were running a revenge-themed escape room. She chuckled. Noted.
Click.
Day 50. I got a promotion. Director of Analytics. They didn't announce it with champagne or speeches. Just a quiet update to the org chart. My new title in black font where his used to be. I kept my same desk, same chair, same mug with the chipped rim. Because I didn't need to take his throne. I survived it. And when people pass my desk now, they nod with something different in their eyes. Not pity. Not awkward solidarity. Respect. Marcus? Last I heard, he was selling leadership webinars on LinkedIn. $10 a seat. 0 attendees. But me?
I go home on time.
I sleep like a stone. And sometimes, when I'm sipping tea at midnight, I whisper those 3 little words that started it all. You're an idiot. No, Marcus. I'm the idiot who took notes.